Hey yo, this is another episode of the Steven from the Old Time Podcast. Listen to my dad, he's awesome.
Boys, I have some good news and I have some bad news. What do you want to hear first?
Good news.
Good news? Okay, so
Yeah.
the good news is I went to pick up last week, as you saw in the pictures. I sent you 2 new CD towers.
It was that bad news.
The bad news is I got to continue buying CDs so I could fill them up because they're not completely filled up. So my 2025 resolution is not going to stick this year. It might go to 2026. So I will be continuing to buy CDs.
It lasted 20 days.
It didn't last 20 days. It lasted
less than 20 days.
It lasted about 5 days.
Insane.
On that note, I am your host, the Ayatollah of Hip Hop, the whole damn show, the rated R podcaster, a visionary, a revolutionary, and the voice of the fucking voiceless, and spend thousands of dollars monthly on CDs. And my co-host this evening,
It's me. I spent nada on fucking CDs this year. And I'm not, no, I can't. I support anything, any way I can, but the CDs are just getting out of hand. I don't have more space. And that's it. It's me, Milenko. What's up?
the editor, and your very favorite French Canadien.
Yep.
And the other one that's laughing with that hairstyle. What is that hairstyle?
At least I have hair.
Fuck
Listen, it's the guy who doesn't understand where Steven gets all his money from to buy CDs. It's the guy who also has the same job as Steven. I don't understand what he does. But if you don't recognize the voice, the greatest there is, the greatest there was, and the greatest there ever will be. One thing I'm not great at is saving money to buy CDs. It's ridiculous. It's crazy in Canada. Wished I lived in the States. It would be much easier. But here we are. Milenko said we'll help out any way we can, and this is how we help out. We do this podcast. So let's go. Let's get to it.
Yep.
But by the way, I wore this nice T-shirt, crew neck, just out of respect for Drake and his bitchism and sand in his vagina.
What
You didn't
happened
see
now?
You guys have no idea that he's suing again. He withdrew his other claim and now he's suing again for some stupidity. No, zero. Malenko, you're never on Instagram.
I don't
Never on-
understand. So why you wearing a
It's
dog?
a joke. It was called a joke. I was trying to make you guys laugh. Ha ha.
But why three dogs is a reference with Drake? I don't get
The
it.
album For All My Dogs.
Oh, wow. Jesus Christ.
From now on, Steven needs to introduce himself as like the Ayatollah of hip hop, the guy who reaches beyond any measure.
Fuck, I didn't get it at all.
Jesus, what a reach.
Damn.
What a reach. Goddamn.
Boys, how's everyone doing? It's good to joke around once in a while after the crazy 2 weeks I've had with work and stupidity in life. It's just nice to joke around and have some fun and be here with you guys. How's Malenko? How you doing?
I'm doing good. You?
Shit, but I'm good to be here. Derek?
Good.
Yeah, I'm all right. Can't really complain. Love this little intro. It was a little bit more natural. Absolutely loved it. Yeah, not bad. Listen, work is work. We're getting it. We all three of us do the same thing. We all know what time of year it is right now. If you've had a store and it's been open, you know we're getting close to inventory time, which for us is means a lot of hours and a lot of things going on, and no time for anything else. But it is what it is. It's once a year. We'll get it. We'll move on from it, and yeah, finding time to do this podcast. And let's go. Let's get to it.
The joy of working retail. Okay. Malenko, before we get into the 2 reviews that we have this evening, you messaged me the other day. Usually you don't text me. It's me always starts the conversations.
Mhm.
But you messaged me and you said, did you hear the new Crime Apple?
Yeah, I was late to the party. I can't believe I didn't. December, I didn't listen to albums. I just pushed them back with the Red Man coming out, and I push everything back. And the Crime Apple was one of them. What a goddamn album. I can't believe I missed that. What a release. I mean, one of my favorite combos that you can get. Like Apollo Brown on the production. Come on now. So I don't know. I just put it aside. I forgot about it. I came back, played it, and what an album. I think Crime Apple, if I would have listened to that, he would have been in my artist of the year for sure.
This is not that, right? We're talking about.
This is not that. Yep. The songs on there are the structure of the songs. His lyricism is still on point. His flow is still on point, and Apollo Brown just served them the best beats you can give to him and the direction. It made me think about California. What's the name of the album that we
Blue and Evidence.
Blue and Evidence. Evidence put such a nice blueprint for Blue, no pun intended, for him to follow. It's the same thing. I think Apollo Brown just gave the experience to Crime Apple, and Crime Apple is heavy. Crime Apple is heavy.
Los Angeles was the Blue and Evidence. Continue.
I think he's a heavyweight now. I think he's a heavyweight.
Oh, absolutely. And the fact that Apollo Brown wants to work with him, and Apollo Brown has done so many great albums, Planet Asia, Guilty Simpson, OC.
Yep.
He's done such Sky Zoo. He's done such amazing albums. And for him to link up with Crime Apple and to give a different sounding body of work to Crime Apple was it was well done. You know what? Like, if I would have given it a bit more attention, Crime Apple did put out a lot of projects last year, so I kind of was like lost in what was coming out. But this would have probably made a bunch of lists, or it would have probably been something I would have spoken about for sure, 100%. And
Yeah.
I'm on the same boat as you, Malenko. It kind of like flew under the radar.
But he's a heavyweight. I think he's a heavyweight. To really give that direction to Crime Apple and him to respect it and do those type of rhyme on it, that's stuff. I don't think most rappers can do that, honestly. It's a big step. And I think Crime Apple has just been stepping on
Building. He's
all these
building.
albums. Yeah. He's like he goes to the playoff and he beats the big teams all the time. So that's really tough. They're really tough. Another album from 2024 that I listened late is the Rock Marciano El de Alchemist.
Skeleton Key.
I could live without it. I could really live without it. And that's crazy to me to say.
Yeah, I wasn't super impressed with it. Like, I enjoyed it. Like, it's an enjoyable album. I'm just not impressed with it.
I can live without it. I honestly could. It's crazy. It's like it never dropped for me right now. I spin it a couple times, but is it better than Marciology? Never. I think Marciology was one of his best album in a long time, and I think he just dropped something that's, I don't know. It surprised me from The Alchemist. It really surprised me from The Alchemist. I think it's pretty bland. There's nothing to it. I feel like
It was short also. 10 songs. There's 2 bonus tracks if you ordered it online and got that version. But yeah, it's nothing. It didn't stick. Marciology was just too strong of an album that to me it was just like, yeah, it's okay. Let's push it to the side. Let's see what else he can come up with. I only needed one Alchemist and Rock Marciano album, if you get what I mean. Like, it's that one really great body of work, and that they don't need to put another body of work together for me to be happy. I'm happy with one.
Yeah, 100%.
What's the French artist you were listening to?
Oh my God, Obia Le Chef and El Cotola and Obia Le Chef. So Obia Le Chef is the rapper, and El Cotola is the producer. El Cotola is a Chilean Montreal producer. He's let's say that I think he's better than a lot of guys that are shining right now. I think he's been at that level for a long time. Like, he could produce for the biggest names. I think his level of production is just another level. I think he said it on like, he got receipts, dog. He got receipts. He was doing drumless beats way before a lot of guys rapped on it way before the Rock Marciano wave came through. Like, yeah, whatever.
He's from here.
He's from here. He's from Montreal. And with Obia Le Chef, they did one album back. They did two albums. Le Procédé is one of my, like, the shit that I grew up to. It's one of my favorite albums all time. And they did a new one in 2024, Nimrod, and they came out with the deluxe right now that just dropped. And the bonus songs is nice, 9 bonus songs, and it's not added all at the end. They redid the whole album structure with the new 9 songs, and it's crazy. It's crazy, the production on it. And Obia Le Chef is like I don't know how to describe. He's a heavy lyricist.
To all the Anglophones out there, if you want to check it out. You might not understand anything, but Malenko will help you through the process.
Just for the beats. Like Chien Gras is insane. Poudre is insane. Industry Party, the beat, La Cuss is insane. Like those beats and the way he produce, it's like high level production. And it's a big thing because from Montreal and Quebec, albums, they don't get money, dude. There's no money in these albums, less than underground. And I'm telling you, Nimrod, that's the name of the album, sounds better than a lot of albums I hear last year, quality wise. A lot. It's not even the same, like the quality is just up there. It's a straight 9 for me. Straight 9. I love that album. I was surprised.
Derek, anything you've been listening to that you want to add some flavor?
Not really. I think in my realm of music, which is more the metal, we've had a few singles come out. We've had a new Architects single come out. Architects is due for an album this year. There's also a few releases that are planned for this year. I know it's just been a matter of catching up, really. We got a few shows coming up this year as well, so I've just been really diving into that music to make sure I'm ready for those shows. Catching up to the podcast, catching up to the albums that we're about to review tonight. I know I have to get on the Wavy the God, the new EP he released a few weeks ago. I saw it pass by, just haven't had the time to get into it. Now I want to dive into the one that Malenko just talked about. I'm not a stranger to French rap as well, so I'm curious on that. But no, man, like I said in the beginning of the podcast, it's the busy time for retail right now in terms of just admin stuff. So that means that like it takes up a lot of mental energy, and for my music, I like to mentally be fresh. So can't wait for this whole freaking process to be done, and then I'll get into some music for sure.
All right, so let's get into the 2 reviews of the evening. We're gonna start off with a release from 2024 that you needed to buy the CD or the vinyl to be able to listen to it, from Bars Over BS. But it did come out in 2025 a couple of weeks ago on the Pack of the Plug YouTube page, and will be coming out on streaming at the end of the month, if I'm not mistaken, January 30th or January 31st. And that's one of our favorite artists that we've reviewed numerous times on this podcast. One of my favorite artists, Ty Farris and Divine Crime, The Timing of a Tarantula. 10 songs, 31 minutes. Ty Farris last year only, if I'm not mistaken, put out 2 projects. He put out the Enigma with an Attitude and ended off the year on November 22nd with Timing of a Tarantula. In good old Ty Farris fashion, what do you do when he comes out with a project? You listen. What do? You put in your headphones. You go through it numerous amounts of time before you're able to. And I like the way you laugh, because you're starting this one off. When you gotta listen to a Ty Farris project numerous amounts of time, because there is so much being said. Okay. And it could be as simple as a punchline that you need to be able to sit with it to try and understand in which direction he is going in. And that is why Ty Farris has been at the top of hip hop for the last 5 years and has been one of my favorite artists, because he's not just an artist that I'm going to put on for background music or an artist that I just put on just to listen to. He's an artist that has a lot of energy, has a lot of stuff to say, that he is wise. Okay. And just like the title of this album, Timing of a Tarantula, his timing is always on point. He's very calculated, just like the theme of the album, the tarantula, and how the tarantula is a very calculated, specific creature. And if you listen to the way Ty Farris raps on this, is very different from the way he rapped on Enigma with an Attitude, right? Here he's more out to get the prey. He is out to show that he is one of the best lyricists. He is out to show that he could create bodies of work this way and that they're 10 times better than the bodies of work that are coming out. There's so much energy and there's so much that goes into each and every one of these 10 songs that kind of showcases to you what he is able to do as an MC. As different from Enigma with an Attitude, where there was a lot more of the story in it. There was a lot more characters in it. This one is Ty Farris, what he's gone through in his life and what's made him to be this top elite MC in the hip hop world. Look, I had the opportunity to listen to this when it came out. It's something that I've been going through since it came out. And it's something that I enjoyed so much, and I didn't want to review it until you both specifically, especially Derek, were able to get to listen to this body of work. A lot of lists, maybe not a lot of lists, but it was mentioned on the Abyss podcast. Some people put it in their list. There's something about this project that resonates with me. And it's something that I'm a fan of, and that's just punchlines and how the punchlines are put together throughout a story. And Ty Farris is that type of guy that is able to give that to us. And the way I listen to this album is super different. Again, I'm going to go back to Enigma with an Attitude. Enigma with an Attitude, there's a lot. It's a puzzle, right? As to where this is, the way I look at it is he is battle rapping with others, showing that how much of an MC and how much of a top tier MC he is throughout these songs. And again, there's a lot of things to unwrap from this type of album, right? Coming in at 10 songs. We got production from Clipto. We have production from Denny LaFleur, who produced for West Side Gun. We have production from Apollo Brown on here. We got features from Rome Street. We got features from ST Knack. And Ty doesn't really always use featuring, so it was really great and refreshing to hear him able to rap with dudes at this elite level. Rome Street, an elite MC. Estenac, look at the bodies of work he put out in 2024 and before that as well. It's amazing to hear him with these MCs. Derek, I want to hear your opinion. I want to hear what your thoughts on this. I know how much you like Enigma with an Attitude.
Absolutely. And let me preface by saying that I think as I'm doing this podcast and I'm getting into this whole hip hop sphere in this hip hop world, I thoroughly enjoy albums who have like a theme and a little bit more of a story to it, and a little bit more of like like a book, a little bit more like a book. There's progression to it. Mm-hmm. That's why I was really looking forward to this, because I think Enigma with an Attitude was one of the best of that style of hip hop in 2024. So I was really looking forward to see what this project was. I was surprised, not necessarily in a good or bad way, on how it was a little bit of a left turn. It was a little bit more of a big boy shit talking, like really, like Steven said, he dived into a little bit of this. There's also a lot of very slick lines, like direct punches at other rappers, at other MCs, not without naming them specifically, but just saying like, hey, this is how I operate, and I'm really good at this. I'm better than a lot of people. And like Steven said, the whole timing of the tarantula thing, it's set up, punchline, set up, punchline. And the way that he sort of flows, he doesn't have the most aggressive type of flow. It's just sort of very sort of calculated and like precise. And then he strikes just like the tarantula, like, so I love the way that he adapted the theme of his album to his actual like rhyming pattern and his flow and his delivery through it. I really appreciated that. For me, the album definitely didn't flow as good as Enigma with an Attitude from top to bottom, which luckily in that regards, I think it was very calculated. And the fact that there was only 10 songs and it was about 31 minutes, I think a longer album, a longer album with this style of sort of direct punchline and direct sort of like bars talk, I think for 45 minutes would have probably been a little, for me personally, would have probably been a little too long. So I really enjoyed the fact that this was like short, sweet, quick, to the point. Listen, he's always slick with the way he approaches his double entendres and his flow and all that kind of jazz. Like the way he approaches his punchlines and the way he crafts his punchline, I mean, there's not a lot of people that do it on that level, and to have the different meanings and to have to go back to it. Like the amount of times when you listen to Ty Farris, you're just sort of listening to it, and I listen to it on my computer, just listen to it, and then I'm like, oh shit, wait, I got to rewind. What did he say? And then I just got to go back to it, and then I got to go back to it, and then so I can really appreciate that. I don't like to catch everything on the first try, and he's the kind of guy that you listen to it the first time, you sort of get like not that you gloss over it, but you tend to, when you listen to an album, the way I listen to it anyway, is the first time I listen to it top to bottom. I don't pause. I don't go back. I just want to get the whole volume of it in. The second one is the one where I sort of like start writing notes down, start pinpointing certain things. Then the third, fourth, and fifth listen, it's when I start going back. Oh, what did I miss? What did he mean here? Oh, was this a setup to another punchline? Like, is he referring back to something he said like 4 or 5 punchlines ago? And I appreciate the fact that he's making me work for it. I really do appreciate the fact that like when you listen to Ty Farris, you got to do your homework. You got to be active when you're listening to it, because otherwise you're going to miss most of it. And it's not the kind of thing, like Steven says, that you just sort of put it as background music. This is an active listen. It's not a passive listen. Even if you want to listen to it passively, you're missing the point. You're missing the point. That's not why it was crafted, especially at 10 songs, 31 minutes. You have 31 minutes to actively listen to what he's saying and try to really break it down. So yeah. I personally, I thoroughly enjoyed that aspect of it. Like I said, maybe it's not an album for every day, because it is a little bit more taxing mentally to listen to it, because you do have to analyze a little bit more. It's probably not the kind of album I'd put in a car, but it's the kind of album that, like, if I want someone who says, hey, I'm getting into hip hop, or like I'm into hip hop and I'm into like slick wordplay and slick lyricism, I could give this to him, and I know that he's going to put in the work for it, right? So in that regards, if you're looking for something active to listen to, I think he did a really good job on it.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. And getting back to, before we get into Malenko, is just that whole, there is a theme to it, but the theme of it is the tarantula and Ty Farris, having that connection with the tarantula, and the way the tarantula feeds on its prey, the way the tarantula has venom, poisonous venom, the way it attacks, just that whole creature of the tarantula and what that tarantula does in its everyday life. That connection, that Ty Farris, is what Ty Farris had to go through to get to where he is today. and how he's able to showcase that throughout his bars, throughout his punchlines, being calculated, and again, his prey, the other artists, the other MCs that he's going at. Okay. He has that battle rapper mentality. He has that battle rapper, form, and
he's hungry.
Yeah.
He's hungry. He's definitely hungry on this album. And you could tell, like, I think he's really hungry in terms of going. I don't know if he feels like I think he's got a lot of confidence in himself. But I don't know if a part of him feels like he's a little underrated, or people are not speaking about him enough in the underground community, because who are we kidding? Like, everyone says hip hop is dead. Just listen to the underground community. I can confirm to you it's not dead, but the problem is that there's so much coming out, and there's a lot of underground hip hop artists. We saw it last year that put out like 3, 4, 5 projects a year. It is considerable amounts of work. And Ty Farris is a little bit more conservative in the projects that he puts out, but the quality is there. It's so, like, especially if his projects come out on the earlier part of the year, and maybe people feel like maybe he feels like people forget about him as the year goes on. So I think that an album like this is probably him just being like having that hunger for that. And I just want to shout out one song specifically, because one song really, really stuck out to me on this whole entire album. 8 Eyes on the Paper was by far a long shot of the best song on the album. The beat on that was perfect. I love that beat. That beat hits so hard. The feature on it, never heard of the kid, never heard of the guy, but I think his feature was spot on. He brought that sort of grimy, sort of like aggressive kind of attitude to it. Absolutely love his tone. He has a rasp to his flow as well. I just wanted to shout out that song.
The featuring says Flames.Malik.
Yeah.
I never heard of it, but that was a good feature on a great song. I think that was absolutely great. And the Apollo Brown track obviously it's Apollo Brown, it's sort of like has that like groovy, sort of like soulful kind of flair to it, kind of tone to it, which at the end of the album sort of like really set the pace in terms of like, all right, we're on our way back down from like the more slightly aggressive types of beats in the beginning. But yeah, overall it was pretty solid. Malika, what'd you think?
Yeah.
I think this guy is like is a heavyweight, dude. I think this guy is a heavyweight. There's no. I think people don't talk about it too much because they're scared. This guy is heavyweight. I always like to compare rappers to fighters. To me, like he said it on this. There's no one in his category of weight. There's no one there. I think he's a heavyweight. The guy it's Vladimir Klitschko, bro. Vladimir Klitschko. He just stays in pocket, jabs you, and powerful punchlines. That's it. Vladimir Klitschko always had that quick jab for a heavyweight, and he had that really fucking heavy right. So I think it's the same for him. I think his punchlines are, I listen to rap for one reason, because when I hear a bar, I want to get a reaction. If you get a reaction out of me when I'm listening to a song, either I scream or I just do that fucking mug face or whatever it gets me. If you do that to me, already you're winning. So either as the beat that can like get to me, any music that I listen to, if for a reaction. I was listening to the Spice Icon in Arms of Prediction this morning. I got chills listening to the breakdown. I'm like, this exactly. And when I listened to Ty Farris, then he said he has a hood rat with a gun on her and he ride with a loaded ratchet. I fucking lost it. I'm like, yes, that's it. Hood rat with a gun. When a gun is loaded, I'm with a hood, like with a ratchet. Like, come on, dog. Like, I mean, from the beginning, the intro heavy, that guitar is solid. He never fell off like the square on the line. Come on, dog. He's like, the guy is heavy. What else he said? He says, I'm fine with I'm fine. I never played games like Kali for the Clippers. What did he say? Kawhi with the Clippers.
Like
Come on.
Kyrie, like
I
Kyle
never
Kyrie
played
with the
games.
Clippers.
I'm fine to play games like Kawhi with the Clippers. I felt like, wow, that's fucking heavy.
Yeah,
Like,
the Derrick
dude is
Henry,
heavy.
other people grabbing on his
The
face,
face
mask.
mask.
Come on, dude. Like,
Yeah.
the dude is heavy. And for the same, my favorite songs is Venom in My Veins.
Mine too. Yes.
Eight Eyes on the Paper and Eat What You Kill. Those three are just bangers. So, I mean, the production, even though is I don't think you mentioned Bohemian Lynch.
Yes, I
Bohemian
didn't
Lynch
mention,
got
but
two
yes.
songs on here. They're fire. The dude is a heavyweight. There's nothing more to say. The dude is a heavyweight. This album is not to mess with, and I feel the same as Derek. Maybe it's not as um structure like an Enigma could be, but I still enjoy it. I still it's still a threat. Still a
Look,
threat.
I'll say this, and I could argue with this with anybody, and if anybody ever wants to argue with me about Ty Ferris, let's go. Enigma with an Attitude was Ty Ferris's best project, and Ty Ferris has put numerous amounts of project out in the last 5 years, and they've all been stellar. From the No Cocaine Just Cosign, volumes 1 to 5. Derek, if you haven't heard them, please. They're all great. Fluorescent Mud. He's put out the Malice at the Palace. He's put out so many great projects, and for him to come out with Timing of a Tarantula after his best body of work ever, okay, and him for really kind of do two different bodies of work and still have that energy, still have that in him, still be able to create this. Look, Malenko, you were saying and I know for you to be impressed with something, it takes a bit more now. And for you to be impressed with just his punchlines and the way he put the track together. And Derek, you mentioned just, like his voice, like it's not aggressive, but the way he's calculated and how he attacks those punchlines and those bars makes him aggressive, right?
There's a certain experience. There's a certain experience having those hooks as well. Those hooks are good. Good hooks. Is never too much. Is never not enough. Just great hooks. That's what I'm looking for a underground rapper. And who's the tougher of all three with the production side and the structure side and the everything? It's me. And I'm gotta say this: the level of production on here, the mix is perfect. The quality of the music is there. There's no problem with the mixing that I'm like, oh my god, why do I just hear the piano on this song? No, everything is good. No, he takes care of his albums, and when he releases, it's quality. So
just look at the cover. Just look at the artwork. Just look at look, I have all his projects. I'm only missing one. If anybody in the world has No Cocaine,
but he's not gonna buy it because 2025 he's not buying an album.
No Cocaine Just Cosign 4. If anybody has it, please reach out to me. I'll buy it off you. But like, there's so much investment that goes in it. There's so much investment that goes in it that makes you interested in the artist himself, right? It's just not, here's a CD, you open the CD and it's just like the fucking CD there, right? And it's not like the digipack where it feels like my son went upstairs, took construction paper and closed
the digipack.
Digipack. Like, there's so much quality. Bars Over BS, it's the brand of high quality. He's the head of the table. Like, it's the brain, the Ty Farris brain, with everything he's able to give to us. And I want to end it off on this. He's from Detroit, okay? He has that battle rapper mentality on how he is able to attack a track, right? The way he's coming to spar with you. This album, I have in my head just Ty Farris in a room all alone, and across from him is a shadow that he's just rapping against. It's just, you know what?
Yeah, you can hear he's coming from the battle battle rap for sure. And we didn't even talk about the features that much, but having ST when he started, I'm like, whoa, is the album finished or what? Did it just play? I was so surprised. And he was he got into the ring with Rome Street, and let me tell you, he got a better verse than Rome Street.
Absolutely.
So what else? I mean, ST was perfect to break it off. I think, yeah, that feature was perfect. I think the guy is heavy, dude. The guy is heavy. You can't play with him. You can't play. I just wish now, Ty, if you listen to this, you 38 Special, conductor beats. There you go. Thank you. Wrap the game up.
I love it. Okay. Anything else that you want to add, Derek Malenko?
No, I wanna add one thing. 38 Special, superior beats. Die. You're ready for it, dog. You and Superior, it will give you that fucking canvas there, and you will kill it. Oh, you and 38. Oh man, that's my wish list for 2025.
Hey,
please.
To Ty Farris, you mentioned it, Ty Farris on those Superior beats.
Oh, imagine it would be like a movie.
It'd be like watching Inception.
Yes, please. So I just created that. Superior. I'll hit you up. I'll tell you.
It would be like Inception. Venom in My Veins is my favorite track on there. Just I could listen to that song daily. It's a song that I could just go and click on it just to listen to that specific song. It's just phenomenal with the hook.
Mm-hmm.
Great job. Anyways, let's give our score. Derek, I'm starting off with you.
I think for me, I think it's going to be a 7 out of 10.
Malenko?
For me, it's going to be a 7 out of 10.
Yeah. For me, it's a clear 8 out of 10. Easy.
Yeah, I'm going with an 8 also, and I cannot wait to own this project on CD in my house.
But you're not buying anymore. So.
No, but I bought this in 2024. No, I'm buying. I got it. No, like, and I know, Derek, you started getting some vinyls, man. I wish you could have gotten this on vinyl. If there's ever like a reissue of that shit, that's something that just the cover art is just fucking phenomenal. Like, just it plays around with your brain so much.
Mm-hmm.
The theme.
I'm looking for, man. The vinyl now. Listen, I can't get anything until I get my lavish language Josiah the Gift in the mail, which I'll get it when I get it. Listen, I think he has time to release his other project before I ever get it. So we'll see. We'll see. Copenhagen Greats. I don't know what you're doing, but let's go. Let's get on
it. So we'll move on to the last review of the evening. We have the new Farris Blusa and Observe since 98. And that's when I saw Gawd. I'll start off really quick. Farris Blusa was in my top 10 artists last year. Farris Blusa is somebody that I've been paying attention to a lot in the last year and a half, especially coming off that project with Vega 7 that Malenko, if I'm not mistaken, you had in your top.
Of course. Yep.
Okay.
And I still listen to it.
See, I'm listening to a lot of Farris Blusa, his solo projects, because I think as an artist, there's a lot that goes into an artist like Farris Blusa. There's a lot of paying attention to him and how he presents himself. And I find that he is a very different artist for a lot of what the artists that we're all listening to. He stands out amongst those artists because of who he is as a human, his storytelling, how he presents himself, his tone of voice. That's something that I gravitated to a lot with him. He reminds me of the Scarfaces of the world. That southern tone of voice, like the Big Rube, like the Dungeon Family type of sound, but more specifically towards Scarface. And the reason why, as a kid growing up, I was very attracted to Scarface is because how he was so able to present to us who he was, what his beliefs were, and what he went through growing up. And Ferris Blusa does the exact same thing in a way that makes me so interested in who he is that I'm still 5-6 albums into him, and I'm still trying to get who he is as a person. And I love that because it takes time for you to get into something. It takes time for you to unveil who the person is. And just this album, 9 songs. We have The Unholy that starts off the project. For all the people that are listening to this, I think it's very important for when you start off an album having an intro. An intro is the part of the album that's going to set you off to give us what we're going to be getting ourselves into. And he does such a phenomenal job with giving us a 1 minute and 20-second, 1 minute and 30 track to give us the soundscape to what is going to be on this album. And he does such a phenomenal job with The Unholy. I just wanted to point my finger on that. 23 minutes. We have 2 interludes. The Devil Angelist, entry 1 and 2. And we got good solid 6 songs, man. I love the production on here. It kind of reminds me of a more dark Heat Makers.
Mm-hmm.
Right, with the samples that are being used on here, and it kind of really marinates super well with Ferris Blusa's tone of voice. One of my favorite songs on here is Bible Study Freestyle. Great song, brilliant song. How the beat switches up throughout, kind of feels like riding around music, but not really. If you know what I'm trying to get at, it's very laid back, interesting. You get different sounds throughout the samples, throughout the production. Getting to know who Ferris Blusa really is, right? If you've looked at his music videos in the past, he's always kind of wearing that gas mask. So you're kind of trying to figure out who he is, and I just love that about artists. It takes a while. And he did such a great job with this project, man. Malenko.
Best cover 2025. I give it to him to this day. Fucking incredible cover. First of all, I think it pretty much sums up the darkness of this album. Again with the Gawd theme. I love the story trying to tell with this. The picture he's trying. I feel like it's more like of a appetizer type of project. For me, Bible study was one of my was definitely one of my highlight. I like that like 80s type of sample, but Faith in Me as well is more like a up tempo beat. But Ferris, I saw it. I say it on the last episode, on the end of the year episode. It's an artist that I started to learn, and with the last album and this project, I really enjoy what he does. He has a great rhyming voice. Like his voice for the rap is perfect. Again, another project that the whole mix, the whole production is quality. The mix was perfect on this. Like the use of the samples and the skits. It's very dark, very very dark album. He takes his. He's not a fast rapper at all. I mean, Ferris takes his time, really spaced bars, really slow. Attention to every word. I really enjoyed this project. And a really nice listen. He's gonna keep me interested. Again, that's what it does to me. I'm gonna listen to his next things for sure, and observe since '98. Great beats.
Oh yeah,
Throughout.
absolutely. It gives you that that slower, more darker heat makers type of style of production. Um, just to add to the production, you mentioned the darkness of the album. I've something I've learned throughout this album is Ferris fighting his demons on here. That's what the dark, where that dark feel of the production and the theme of the album comes from, right? It's just Farris Blusa calls himself Gawd, fighting against the devil and the demons and the trials and tribulations of a human being and what he is.
I saw another side me.
What'd you see?
Me, I thought it was maybe how some people there are saying they're really
But their beliefs in God?
no, I see it. I like for the last kid, you know, when the evangelist is
Yes.
they're talking to him, why you carrying all this money? Why you have a private jet? And he's like, Fabricated. He's like, I don't know what to tell you. You kind of, I feel like he says it in a way that sometimes even if you think you have the power of God, you use it for a bad thing.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's what I think I saw of it.
No, you might be right because even on the evangelist entry, he talks about where somebody was curing a woman from polio.
Yeah, and it was exactly,
and it was all for money, and it wasn't just truth. Yeah, so but that could be things like that though, and the way it's portrayed to us is very interesting, and that's why
false prophet for whom remains. Since I saw you, like I think that was a theme that I got out of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good point. Derek.
Yeah, just to touch up on that really quick before I get into my overall thoughts on the album. I agree with Milenko. I think this is him maybe taking a shot at the other rappers out there, the other hip hop artists out there that say they're the best and keep rapping that they're the best, and him calling them out as being false prophets and doing this rap game for the money and doing this rap game for all these nice things when you're supposed to be about the culture and giving back to the culture. I feel like that might just be him reaching out in that way. But listen, I'm going to stretch here.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, we lost a very special talent in the hip hop community in Gawd.
Mm-hmm.
Someone who, when you listen to him, the calmness of his voice, how meticulous he is with the words that he chooses and his rhyming patterns and his flow and his bars and all that kind of jazz. I had a little bit of a feeling of that on this album, him being very, very humble and very honest and not being overly braggadocious, not being aggressive, always being super cool, calm, collected on everything that he said. And even though I feel like some of the stuff, like Steven says, he's battling his demons, he wasn't doing it in an aggressive manner. He was doing it in a way of understanding, in a way that he's grown from those demons. He's not mad at those demons. He's learned, grown, and become better through it. And I feel like the way he approached that was very, very, for me anyway, was very refreshing. And I think Faith in Me is a very good example of that.
That's what I was about to say.
Faith in Me is, in all honesty, it's just a beautiful song. The way that song is structured, the message throughout the song, which, to be perfectly honest, you don't get that much of in the hip hop space, in the hip hop community, and just like positive hip hop. You know, he's not talking shit. He's not talking a whole bunch of smack. You know, he's just being vulnerable, honest, and very calm. And I feel like for me, that was a giant breath of fresh air. And to get back to what I was, absolutely. And I think we need that. Well, personally, I need that sort of. I need that sort of music sometimes, in terms of just, you know, like sometimes you listen to metal or you listen to whatever it is. Sometimes it's good to listen to something that's a little bit more mellow and just brings you to a place of just like, that was nice. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't get me like
calming,
aggressive. Yeah, it's calming. Exactly. And I think kudos to him in terms of delivering that, because he could have gone the other way. He could have gone like Scorched Earth with a theme like this, but he didn't. He chose a more calming, humble path, and I really enjoyed that. And also just really shout out to the whole production of this album, how all the songs bled into the others. That for me was chef's kiss. Honestly, that's the kind of thing that I love, an album that has a structure and that it just flows from top to bottom. And this was the perfect example of that. One flowed into two, two into three, three into four. And for me, it's fantastic, especially listening to it on streaming, because I listen to it through YouTube. And there's always like a little gap between the songs because it skips to the next song. And I could tell that it was meant to bleed in. I can't imagine what that would be like to listen to it on an actual album or an actual vinyl, where it's just one sort of like continuous sort of project through and through. I think that's probably better to listen to it in its entirety on an album rather than on streaming. But yeah, I think other than that, The Unholy was a hell of a way to start off the album.
Yep.
Also, you start off with
important.
I think it's the perfect way to start off, because if you look at the way that he structures the songs, The Unholy, He Who Remains, Since I Saw You, and so on and so forth, until he reaches the softer side of things towards the back half of the album, especially in Faith in Me. I think it was great. Since I Saw You was really good. It was a little bit more of a catchy, sort of like groovy kind of beat. You sort of caught like a little bit more of a bump to it, but I think that was really good. I think it was really well placed as well.
The sample,
False Prof. The sample is just. It was
Since I Saw You was just ridiculous. It was a match made in heaven for him. That song. That song is probably my Bible study freestyle and The Unholy are my favorite, but like Since I Saw You, just the way the song flows and how perfect his tone of voice sounds on that style of beat is a match made in heaven.
Absolutely. And I think, just to your point, Stephen, I think Bible study freestyle was really good. The way it sort of like cuts halfway, because it's a pretty long sort of song. It's 3 minutes or something.
Yeah.
The way it cuts in the middle to bring back like the top part of that song really reminisces the top part of the album, and then the way it transitions and the midpoint to sort of taper off towards the bottom half of the album. I think that was really, really well done. Listen, this project was absolutely fantastic, and I have to thank Steven for that, because I saw it pass by and I remember being really attracted by the cover. But then Steven's like, no, go, like, you got to listen to it. It's really good. And I think he said to me, and I think half an hour later, I was like, yeah, this shit's, this is good. This is good. And I think I'm going to listen to it the same way that I listened to the first album, meaning for me, it's a more active listen, just because of the subject matter behind it, and just because of the humbleness and the honesty and the delivery in it. I think that's the kind of thing that I don't want to listen to it. I feel like if I listen to it and I just play it and then I do something else, I'm not doing it justice. I'm not doing justice to the body of work. So I feel like that's the kind of thing that I would probably want to listen to. Like, if I put it on, it's because I'm going to listen to it, not just hear it. I'm going to actively listen to it. So I think in that regards, I think that was really good.
Delivery. Derek, I'm happy you said that. The way it was delivered to us and the way he delivered every single song was what makes this project, this album, that good. Just from the beginning, I'm going to mention it again for all the artists out there that listen to me. The way you start off your album is probably the most important piece for the listener to get attracted to it, and he did that perfectly with The Unholy. And it's not even a long song. You don't need a long song. You know, like I find it super important as a listener that if I'm going to press play, I want to get attracted into what I'm getting myself into. Because why am I going to invest my time if at the jump, there's nothing to it? And there's a lot of artists that have failed because the first song of their album is not good, or it's not attracting, or it's not a great listen. And this is prime example of how you should start off your album. End
Absolutely.
of story.
And to your point, Stephen, everything about the beginning of this is perfect. Because what's the first thing you get the album? What's the first thing you see? The cover.
Yeah.
The cover sets a tone. You see the cover. Then what do? You look at the track list. The first song is The Unholy. It's probably the greatest song title for that album cover. And then the song starts, and all of those three elements, from the lyrical, the sound of the album, the beginning of the sound of the album, to the title of the song, to the actual cover, it couldn't be executed better than that. Mm-hmm. It's the perfect example of art meets function meets delivery all together. It's fantastic. There's not a song title on this that doesn't fit there. And the message throughout the whole thing, it's in terms of this type of project, for as short as it was, it's a near perfect project in the way it was executed. I have no complaints about any of this whatsoever.
Yep.
I'm
it's just
invested.
Too short.
Yeah, absolutely. I would.
That's the only complaint. It's just too short. I wish it were more, but again, I think it's just an album to be there, and he puts everything on it anyway. He puts all of. I love Faith in Me. I love Faith in Me. I love that song. I love how we finish it, and the way, the direction, and he says it like it might be corny the way I say it, but I'm like, no, that's exactly like we need those type of
positive, down to earth, like fresh. And again, I'm gonna mention the tone of voice. His tone of voice is just perfection. I'd like to hear him with like a God Bless.
There's a tapeworm from Rock Marciano sample there.
There is?
Yeah, on Bible is a Faith in Me at the beginning, but whatever. It's the same sample they use, but that's me. They just fucking with the samples. It's Bible study freestyle. Yeah, he has a tapeworm. I love that sample. I don't know the origin. I'm not gonna sample snitch, but I love that sample.
I'd like to have a conversation with Observe Since '98 just to see like where he got those samples from, just to hear those songs.
I wonder,
you know what
I wonder? I wonder when like you had this beat for months now, okay, and then you hear a guy like Rock Marciano use it, and you're like, you're like, damn, he used it first, or like, I think, I mean, it's been used way before Rock Marcy, but I wonder sometimes that you go like, fuck, that was exactly the beat that I picked.
Scores, Derek?
No.
This is a tough score because it's a short album.
Yeah, but the album's great. So
the last time I listened to an album that I listened to it and I was like, damn, like I didn't know I needed this. There was 2 albums last year that I felt that way, and they were both on my top 10. And in my top 10, there wasn't an album that was lower than an 8.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like at the end of the year, this album is probably going to be on my list. If not, it's going to be in an honorable mention. So for that reason, for me, this is an 8.5.
Ooh, love it.
I'll give it an 8. 8 out of 10. For me, it's just, man, I wish I had more, but since last year, man, Ferris is someone that I always, when it release, I'm listening to.
He's an interesting artist. It's good to have artists that you're interested in. You want
2025
to know more about. Yeah,
2025. If he doesn't miss, I'm gonna listen to every project. So I'm just putting out there. That's an album that's an artist that we're gonna review a couple times on here, because I'm not missing his albums.
No, absolutely not. And I'm so I got invested with him in the last year and a half. It's because of that project he put out with Machacha, Glory to God, and I never picked it up on CD, obviously, because I just wait. And if anybody out there has a Glory to God by Farris Blusa on CD and wants to
But
sell
you
it to
can't
me,
buy it. It's 2025. You can't buy CDs anymore. You've been already. You named like 4 that you want to buy, and you told.
uh,
Dude.
I'm gonna give it a 8 as well. I want to give it an 8.5, but it's not the length of the project. I like if I had an extra 2-3 songs, I'm wanting more at the end. I'm wanting those an extra 2 or 3 tracks just to complete the body of work. I know there's going to be more projects out this year from him because he's an artist that he likes to give his fans good quality music. So I know there's projects for him that are going to be coming out. Hey, I'm ready. Like, man, if you're giving us this in January, what the fuck are you gonna give us in March, April, May, June, July, August, December? Like, fuck. He's a really talented artist with a great delivery.
Yep, 100%.
All right, boys, I gotta go watch Monday Night Raw. Is there anything else you guys want to add, Derek?
To be honest, in 2025, if we could get more hip hop albums like that it's artistry, it's poetry, rather than listen. Don't get me wrong, I love myself some slick big boy talk. I love myself some taking shots at people. I love it. But this album made me realize that that's something that I felt maybe was missing a little bit in the hip hop sort of world, in the underground hip hop world, because they're very hungry. Don't get me wrong. They're hungry. They want to prove that they got a place. They're angry. They want to get after it. There's ways to get after it. And I think Farris Blusa just showed us another way to get after it. So I think in 2025, I'd like to see maybe a little bit more of that, a little bit more of the down to earth, just supreme confidence, just humble, just to the point, without being overly aggressive. Yeah, I think it was really good. I think so far 2025 has been a little bit slower than 2024 in terms of just the albums being released.
Good.
However, the quality of the work that's been put out is actually really, really good. Yeah, really looking forward to seeing what the rest of the year holds.
Monaco?
Fuck, I'm still listening to Muddy Waters too. I can't you believe that? I can't believe it. I can't believe it.
I'm proud of you.
Still listening to Booyaka Shot. I
The
love
video.
that song.
Hey, Red Man's bald.
Yeah. I love like every like
Red Man is bald.
Up the Trunk. I didn't like it that much when we did the review. It grew on me again. Superman Love 7. I'm just so happy about that album. Fuck.
Good for you. Are you buying it on CD?
Of course.
Really?
I'm
shocked.
Because see, Muddy Waters 2, Carlis. I'm for sure buying it. Dude, fuck, it's Red Man, dude. I went back and listened to all these videos, listened to the fucking. Oh man, I went back to his Instagram, watch. I can listen now to all the teasers and shit. I was so happy, dude. So happy. Yeah, so I'm still listening to that all the time.
Malenko, it makes me super happy that this episode that we put together, that we didn't argue. You're in a good mood. You're happy. You're excited. It makes me really happy. It really, really makes me happy. And I hope 2025.
I'm always happy. You're not happy with what I say, but I'm always happy.
2025, I think our friendship is going to get better.
And wait till another album drops and I'll fucking destroy it.
And hopefully you start answering my text messages, and when I call you and you don't get annoyed of me.
I always call you fucking back. I always call back. I already respond to you.
If you haven't liked and subscribed, or subscribed and liked, please do so now. We'll give you 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Please tune in with us. 2025 is going to be a great year. I appreciate you all. Thanks for listening. If you have any CDs you want to sell, please message me on Instagram, steven.alltime. If not, YouTube, wherever, please put some comments down. Subscribe. It's very important. I think people, you need to, if you're listening, just subscribe. It takes 2 seconds to click on the button. You'll get all the content weekly or every second week. Depends when Malenko edits it, because Malenko puts in all the work. We just yap. and Malenko does everything else. And Derek just sits there with that hair. Appreciate you for tuning in. We'll be back very soon. Peace and love. And if you're not down with that, we got 2 words for you.
Like and subscribe.
Peace.
Peace.
Peace.